or someone who has lost a family member. It is important for us to show compassion to those that we want to reach. In Jude 22, it reads, "And of some have compassion, making a difference." This is the verse that we kind of have come up with when we explained the compassion list. And so that is, we originally called it a prayer list when when we moved to Jacksonville. They wanted to change it to a compassion card list in reference to this verse here. Rob showed it's on page 100, Evangelism workbook that has the prayer list. And what that is you ladies, this is how we can, as ladies, get involved. We can give names of people that we would like to have send cards to. In that, it says you give the name, the description, who the person is. Maybe it's one of your friends, and you tell whoever's going to be doing the prayer list, whether it's a secretary or whoever it is, what their relationship is, what is wrong with them, or how we can help in sending them a card, because we want to send cards that are relative to whatever their needs are. We don't want to send a wrong card to somebody, and that would be embarrassing. So we want to make sure that we know the description of why we're sending this card. And also, of course, we will need the address. We leave the names on the list for typically 4 weeks. Now, if it's someone who is terminally ill, we're going to keep them on a lot longer. But we had so many names at Willette, we had to change it quite frequently. We will also, on this list, is a good time for me to mention those that are visiting. We put them on this prayer list as well, so that we could send cards to them too. What we would do is every Sunday evening, we would get together in a library or somewhere, and each family would be passed out a prayer list in that group. At Willette, we were divided into 6 groups because it was a larger congregation. But depending on the size of the congregation, you put each family in one of those groups, and so that we can all get involved. And we have learned that it is best to send these, when we send these cards, we don't want to just send one card with 30 signatures. We want it to make it personal. So everybody on that list would get a card from each family. We usually had a man that would be one of the leaders, and he would come in and just kind of talk to us about who was on that list. Now me, I'm the type that I get nervous sitting and trying to figure out what I'm going to say to each and every one of these people. I would just take my cards and I take my list and I take it home. That way I could do it through the week and not feel so pressured. So it's up to you ladies. The main thing is we don't want to get them all mailed out on Monday either. We want to kind of space them out through the week. That way that they're receiving maybe 3-4 cards a day. So we're not just overwhelming them. And it has so much effect if they get cards throughout the week as well. When they receive these cards, it will have a positive effect. Don't ever underestimate the power of a card. When we first moved to Jacksonville, we received a phone call from the local hospital giving us the name of Bettina Bodine. She was looking for the church because she had previously attended a Church of Christ for 7 years. We assumed she was a Christian, but found out later that she was not. She sat in those pews all that time, and no one ever tried to study the Bible with her. When we finally figured out where she lived and got her address, the church got in gear and we started sending her those get well cards. And when she started feeling better, she was a very sickly lady. She was on oxygen. She had just moved into the area and had no family. And so, like I said, it took us a little bit to find her, but when we did, we were able to get to know her, and she started feeling better. She wanted us to take her to services because she had no vehicle. So it was getting so much on Hannah and myself because we were not only taking her to services, but we were going through the week and helping her with her household duties and getting groceries for her, taking her trash out. It was getting overwhelming for us because we're not home a lot. And I thought, this is the perfect time for me to get the ladies involved from Jacksonville, and I did. And we had so many women step up to help her because she truly needed the help. And so she was able to start coming to services, and we started studying with her. And I can remember during that third study, when Rob had her read Mark 16:16, she had it memorized. And this is what she said. He who believes is saved and then baptized, and he who believes not shall be condemned. Well, Rob was puzzled. He had never heard somebody read the scripture like that. And he looked at me, he was looking at her Bible and trying to figure out what version she was reading from. And she looked puzzled and said, Rob, am I reading it wrong? And he told her, he said, can you read that just real slowly, word for word in the Bible? And she did. And to her amazement, she could not believe what she was reading in the Bible, because this is not what she had been taught. And she asked us, she said, why did my pastor teach me this? It's very eye-opening, ladies, when they learn the truth. And when she did learn the truth, she wanted to become a Christian. And we're so thankful she did. I think it was about 6 months later, we were at services. We were in the new converts class, and we're sitting there, and Rob gets a text, and it was one of the ladies who was going to pick her up. And when she got there, she was blue. And hospice came in, and they got her to where she was feeling better that day, but that evening she passed away. We are so thankful that we got to meet Miss Bettina, because she would not have had that hope of being in heaven. She was so impressed with all the cards that she received from the church. Ladies, this is the first step towards the Bible study. The second step could be door knocking. In Revelation 3:20 it reads, Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him and will sup with him and he with me. We know that this is one of the hardest things to do, ladies, but it can be very effective if it is done right. We have learned that when we send out house to house, heart to heart on a certain route, and we hand deliver to that route, we let them get it for several months, and then we will go out and ask them about the publication. We'll ask them things like, do you enjoy this publication, things like that, that opens the door and helps break the ice. And I don't know if y'all do this here. Do y'all do house to house? Okay. Yes. Okay. Well, we have found, like I said, if we use this, this can be a very effective tool if it's done right. And that was one thing when we went to the School of Evangelism, we were going to work on ways to help congregations know how to use it, because sometimes we don't always know how to use the things that we do have. And this is a good, when we would go and hand deliver these, it was normally at a time of a gospel meeting, a VBS, or a community outreach. And usually on the back page, it will have an advertisement. And so when we would give it to them, we would show them the advertisement and invite them to come to our meeting or whatever it might be. We are now, House to House is now doing an annual door knocking campaign on this year of October the 3rd. This is our second one that we have started doing. Last year it was very, very effective, and we have had many souls that have been baptized because of it. If you would like to have more information about door knocking, you can go to House, Heart to Heart YouTube channel to find out tips for training on how to door knock. This is an excellent way for congregations to start and learn how to do it more effectively. When we were at Willette, we would go door knocking at least once a year and hand deliver house to house. We came across Gary Williamson, and Nick had knocked on his door and invited him to our services. He came on a Sunday morning, and we found out that he was an erring Christian. He had been away from the church for over 20 years. Rob and Nick Jones studied with him using Does It Matter? He then asked to be restored. We would have never found Gary if we did not knock on his door. Door knocking reaches those who cannot be reached with any other method. The third step could be mailing out house to house, heart to heart. In Acts 2, in verse 46, and it reads, "And they, continuing daily with one accord in the temple, and breaking bread from house to house, did eat their meats in gladness, with gladness and singleness of heart." Once a month, if you do house to house on a regular basis, the congregation will get an email about all the requests for the tracts, the DVDs, or home Bible study. Right here is a quiz that a lot of people enjoy doing, and sometimes they'll send that in, and House to House will send them a bookmark or something that they've requested. But also in here is a part where you'll see that they want to learn more about the Bible, and they will ask for certain things. And when House to House receives this, they will let the congregation know the people in your area that's interested in one of those things. We have learned since moving to Jacksonville that if we hand deliver those requests, you will have a better result. We used to just mail it to them. When we would get these names, we just mail them their tract or their DVD or whatever they wanted, but we were not seeing results. Personal contacts is always better. This is how we met Brenda Glaze. It took us a little bit to figure out where she lived. We kept going to this address that we thought she lived at, and nobody was ever home. But that didn't mean we were going to give up. We were still going to try to get that DVD and tract in her hand. And so we kept going back, and finally we got one of the college students. We live in a college town, and she said, no, I know Brenda Glaze lives here. And she said, can I see the address? And we said, sure. She said, you need to go across the street on the other side of the road, because we had no idea what the difference was northwest and southwest addresses were. We had no idea. We just thought we were going to the address that was stated. When we finally found her, she was so excited, and she couldn't believe that we would actually come and hand deliver these things to her. And the first thing she asked was, do you do home Bible studies? And we said, well, yes, we do. She was so excited, and she says, well, I have just gotten married, and my husband knows nothing about the Bible. Can you please help study with him? So we said, well, sure. So as we were getting to talk to her and to know her, first thing she wanted was some marriage counseling, and we helped with some marriage counseling. And then she was so eager to learn more about the Bible that we went ahead and did a Bible study, and we did Does It Matter? And this picture was actually taken the day that they were baptized. We believe that we would have never met Brenda if we had just mailed her the tracts and DVDs instead of hand delivering it to her. In fact, not only have we baptized these two, but we have baptized a friend of theirs, Winford, and also a niece who I will be talking about here in a few minutes. The fourth ingredient could be getting involved in the New Movers ministry. What is New Movers? Well, this is a program that House of Houses started where we get a list of all the names of people that have moved into the area, and they will give you those. Hannah's telling me I think there's at least 30 on average that move into your area each month. So you kind of have an idea of how many that is, and if the elders wish to start this ministry, you ladies can have a big impact in this, because the men are going to need your help. This is a great way that we can welcome those that have moved into our community, and we do this by giving them a basket full of cleaning supplies. So, ladies, I just go to the dollar store and I pick up a basket, and we put things. I go to the local store wherever I'm at, because I don't want to get it in Jacksonville, Alabama, and you might not have the same things, because honestly, I've gone to so many that I don't think I ever get the same thing twice much. So I've improvised with it every time I go. For the longest time, ladies, I could not find paper towels. It's just been until recently I can find paper towels again, and I was so excited when I could find paper towels again. But we always put paper towels in our basket. Window cleaner, you always need some window cleaner when you first move in. Trash bags are good to have. Toilet bowl cleaner, toilet bowl brush, pine sol, laundry detergent, dishwashing detergent, and then cleaning cloths. So this is an idea. It's usually about 10 items that we put in a basket, and we get together as ladies and assemble these. This is yours that I'm leaving with y'all for a sample so you can remember what I said, because sometimes it's hard to remember. So I like to bring it and show it to you and give it to you as a gift. This basket also needs to include information about the church, whether you have a church bulletin or you have some special, like something, that a paper that has something about the local congregation here. We have at Jacksonville, we have gotten a magnet with all the emergency numbers, because when you first move into an area, you don't know those emergency numbers, and those are something that's very helpful to those that move in. Also, something that might be useful is get business cards from either church members or somebody that you can trust, like plumbers, electricians, mechanics, contractors, or even lawn care services, because I know that was the hardest thing for us when we moved into an area. We had no idea who to trust and who not to trust. And if you can put that information in that basket, that will be very helpful as well. Like I said, once you get these baskets together, whether it's 2 or 3 ladies, go to the dollar store and get these things. Or I know one congregation said that they were going to put a sign-up list, and ladies were going to sign up for certain items. Whatever works best for you. I encourage you to do it as much as you can together. And then, like we did at Jacksonville, like after one of the ladies' Bible classes, we got together and we assembled all the baskets. And so when it was time that we knew that somebody had moved in, we would take the basket to them and welcome them to the community. And the elders may ask you at some point to hand deliver them. I know at Jacksonville, I think we have 75 that normally move in. Well, a lot of them are college students, but we try to find those that are actually moving into the area. We do about 25 baskets, 20 to 25. So, whatever works for you. If you say you want to do 10, well, then you would know you would go to the dollar store and get 10 of each of the items. Let me introduce you to Miss Kim Bullock. Kim had recently had moved into the area, and she had received a publication. And when you're enrolled in the New Movers program, all your people that move into your area will receive a house-to-house publication. And then not only will they receive this, but 2 weeks later, they're going to receive a postcard that welcomes them to the congregation. And on the back, it's going to have the church's name, the address, the times of your services, and inviting them to come. So this is something as well that is helpful in getting to know who's moved into your area. She had moved from Gadsden, which is not too far from Jacksonville, but she had moved, and we had found out. She had called the congregation, the secretaries, and asked about, she was needing someone to pick her up because she did not have a vehicle as well. And so we started picking her up, but one of the ladies took her one of the New Movers baskets to welcome her into our community. And we found out that the reason that she moved to Jacksonville was because she was grieving the loss of her father, and she wanted to move away. And so we immediately, when we found out that she had moved into the area, we started sending her those cards that Hannah has done, New Movers. When they come, that will be another person that you can put on your prayer list. Once you get their name and their address, the congregation can start sending them cards to welcome them to the community. And that is what we did with her, and also by giving her one of these baskets as well. These kind of acts of kindness opened her heart so that we could do a Bible study. We learned that during her father's illness, she fell away from the faith. We used "Does It Matter?" since she needed to be reminded of her first love. She was then restored and is now a faithful member of the church. The fifth ingredient could be making visitors' bags for those who are visiting the congregation. In Romans 16:16, it reads, "Salute one another with a holy kiss. The churches of Christ salute you." We just started doing this at Jacksonville, and it has really helped us, especially in getting the their contact information, because we always had a hard time getting their information, because sometimes they're not going to fill out that card in the pew back in front of them. But if you go up to a visitor, welcoming them to the congregation and giving them a gift, you can have that card in that bag, remove it from that bag, and hand it to them and say, "Can we have a record of your attendance?" And that's another way of also putting their names on your prayer list, so you can start sending them cards, thanking them as well, and welcoming them back at any opportunity that they may have. And this is another great way for us as ladies to get together and assemble these bags. So, I'm going to show you how I do this. I just go to the Dollar Tree and, just buy the bags that come in twos. But anyway, you buy these, and I buy that and write on the front of it, and we put things like a pad of paper in it. Alright, mints. And for the men, they normally like Werther's Originals, don't they? So I throw in Werther's Originals for the men. Gum. Lotion. Kleenex. And then chapstick. And then the last thing is that I was going to show you is I get a cup. Does anybody in here have a Cricut machine? Okay, so you probably know what I'm going to say. What you can do is buy the vinyl stickering and put the name Colleen Church of Christ on here, so they'll always remember that the church, this was a gift from the church, and that's what we do at Jacksonville. We buy a cup and put the name of the church on that as well. So I'm going to leave this with you as well, so that you will have a sample of that too. These bags are intended for those who are visiting from the local community. They're not intended. I know sometimes we have people that are passing through or family. So we usually do something a little bit different for those people, because we know that we're not going to have that opportunity to study with them, and we're looking for those prospects. Some congregations make bread. Some other act of kindness they will do for them. But these bags are intended for those that are in our local community. And as I said, we normally put them on our prayer list so that we can start flooding their mailbox as well, welcoming them back to the congregation and thanking them for coming.
Can I ask you a question?
Uh-huh.
On those bags, if you have the same visitor visiting over and over, you You don't continue to give them a bag?
No.
Do you keep a record of who they are, or who you gave a bag to? Or?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
You do. Yes. Because you don't want to just keep giving them a bag. But you do want to at first, to make them feel like you welcome them to the congregation. When we met Ellen and Perry, but at first Ellen came by herself, we wanted to welcome her, and Perry was not feeling well, and so we were just hoping, that he would eventually come with her, and we gave her one of these visitors' bags to welcome her to the congregation. And we immediately, when we saw Perry come, we immediately invited them to go out to eat with us, and so that we could get to know them better. They agreed, and the relationship started to form. As we were getting to know them, we learned that Perry was very interested in college football, and that was a Sunday. Well, that Monday, the college national championship game was going to take place. So we decided that we would invite them into our home and watch the game together. So that's what we did. We just had little appetizers and we were watching the game. Well, Rob was hoping that eventually the game would kind of get out of control and it wouldn't be as interesting to watch anymore, so that we could talk to them. And it did. And so we just started asking them some questions. First thing we asked them was, what brought you to Jacksonville, the church? They said that they were very upset with their denominations. She was raised in the Baptist church. He was raised a Methodist. So they had become very disgruntled with both religions, the denominations. The word she said was, we are tired of the fluff and puff, and we're looking for a church that we can learn the Bible. And I thought, well, I've never heard anybody say it quite like that before, but I thought that was very interesting that she made that point. And another thing that she said that I'll never forget, she said that when they moved to Jacksonville in 1999, they received House to House, Heart to Heart. It took them 21 years to visit the church, and we are so glad they did. If they had not received the publication, they may have not even known anything about the church, because they lived on the other side of Jacksonville. They didn't even come our way, because we're close to the college, so a lot of people don't come that way. So and so we know that by them receiving that publication, that was why that they came to the church. After building a relationship with them and showing that we cared about them, they were willing to study the Bible with us. We baptized them earlier this year, right before quarantine. The visitors' bags help us know who is visiting and who is a potential prospect for Bible study. And ladies, Rob just talked about Nick and Darby. Well, this is their son. Nick and Darby was Perry and Ellen's son, who came to our VBS in July. So one Bible study at a time. It's amazing how things progress when we get to know people, and we just show that we care about them. And ladies, this is another great opportunity for y'all to get together, buy these things, and assemble them. At Jacksonville, we've actually, because our auditorium is fan-shaped, and so it's very hard to see when a visitor comes in. We have certain of the brethren that sit in certain areas, and when they see a visitor, they know, hey, we need to go and get a visitor's bag so we can take it to them, Because sometimes it's hard for everybody to know when there's a visitor coming in. And so, and that way that helps get more people involved as well with welcoming them to the congregation. The sixth ingredient could be when you see a visitor come in, always invite them to eat. We have done this, since Willette and Jacksonville, we've started doing this. Or have a family who is willing to cook and invite them over for a meal. Usually, when they come visit the first time, they're not going to be able to get together with you just immediately because they normally have plans. So that gives you an opportunity to think, okay, and a lot of times they'll tell you, we'll be back next week. And so we always tell them that offer still stands when they come back and visit. In Luke 5:30-31, it reads, "But their scribes and Pharisees murmured against his disciples, saying, Why do ye eat and drink with publicans and sinners? And Jesus answering said unto them, They that are whole need not a physician, but they that are sick." Even Jesus ate with sinners and publicans, and we need to too. The impact this has on visitors is usually one that they will never forget. They are not used to someone inviting them out to eat or having someone invite them into their home when they visit different churches. It makes them feel like you really care. What I would suggest for you ladies is to meet and come up with a plan for those who would be willing to take a visitor out to eat or have them in your home. If you have them in your home, try to get 2 to 3 ladies to help in preparing the meal so that it is not all on one person. The more we get involved in personal evangelism, the more souls we can save. When we met Larry, Cora, and Dante Stamps, we immediately invited them out to eat when they visited the congregation. We did this so that we could get to know them. Little did we know that they were members of the church who were looking for a new home congregation. When we first meet people, they don't always tell us that they're members of the church. So we do this so that we can get to find out more about them. And so that is what we did with them. The main thing is we just want to make our visitors feel comfortable so that they will be more willing to come back to services. If you extend some form of hospitality, they will be more willing to visit. We have used this approach many times and have had many conversions doing so. Many of our converts have said, if we did not do this, they may not be Christians today. When we open our homes or take visitors out to eat, it can lead to a potential Bible study. The seventh ingredient could be doing some kind of community outreach to let your community know you care and where you are located. In Acts 2:47 it reads, "Praising God and having favor with all the people, and the Lord added to the church daily such as should be saved." We should try to develop favor in our community. At Jacksonville, we do 3 meals a year. We do the shrimp boil. We do the big pig day. That's gross. I can't stand that picture. But anyway, we do this. And we have chicken and hot dog days of summer. Sometimes congregations will do things like feed the first responders. They'll do a back to school backpacks, or they'll do some kind of clothing giveaway. We just need to try different things to help our communities know we are there for them. When we do our meals, we actually have postcards made up so that the members can give them out to their family and friends who are not members of the church. And this has been very successful, and we've had much success when we've done that. When we moved to the area, people were very curious as to why in the world we moved to Jacksonville, Alabama. And so Rob would tell them, say, well, I'm working for House to House in the Jacksonville congregation. Oh, we love that congregation. They're not members of the church, but we heard this time and time again. Right before we moved there, they were hit by a tornado, and the church did a lot of help for the people in the community, and that was the first thing they would tell us. We know that they care. We would actually go there to ask for help before we went to our own denominations. That's sad, isn't it, ladies? But they knew that they could count on us to help them, and we would. And so that's important. We need to get the name of the church out there so that people know that we're truly trying to help them when help is needed. We must strive to have a good reputation for the non-Christian. Our community needs to know that we care. Not all, like this stuff may not work for you, but find something that you can do as an outreach. We've recently had a whole family obey the gospel from coming to one of our meals. We would have never met them if somebody from the congregation had not invited them. The members will find someone that they don't know and will sit with them to make them feel more comfortable. Don't try to greet everyone, but focus on one or a family and spend all your time getting to know them. This allows you to get their information, their address, so that we can invite them to services. This is not normally the most effective work that we do, but we still get a few contacts that we can follow up on. And as I said, we need to figure out ways that we can reach out to our communities, because this may not work here, but that we can find something that will help in our communities. I know we were in New Hampshire, and they were very discouraged. They were going to feed the first responders or something, and I don't know if they'd done advertising. I don't know what they had done, but they cooked up all this food, and they had one person show up, and it was the mayor of the city. So that was very, they were very discouraged about that, and I told them, don't give up. Try something else. There's many ways that we can get out into our community. So don't ever give up. If something that you try, don't give up. Keep trying. Something will work out, and we just got to be patient, and things will work out for the best. The main thing is that you're looking for that one soul who has an honest and humble heart. The eighth ingredient could be doing some kind of benevolent work. In Acts 4:32-35, it reads, "And the multitude of them that believed were of one heart and of one soul. Neither said any of them that aught of the things which he possessed was his own, but they had all things common, and with great power gave the apostles witness of the resurrection of the Lord Jesus, and great grace was upon them all. Neither was there any among them that lacked, for as many as were possessors of lands or houses sold, and brought the prices of the things that were sold, and laid them down at the apostles' feet, and distribution was made unto every man according as he had need. We need to come up with ways that we can help our community, whether it's a food pantry, a clothing giveaway, or anything that we can do to help out. I realize, ladies, the church has been burned for so long, giving money to pay light bills, giving food or clothing, giving gas money, or paying a bill. You will always find someone that will try to take advantage of you. Anytime anyone asks for help, we should use this as an evangelistic opportunity. We should always be inviting them to services. We will always help them, but we tell them they need to help themselves by feeding their soul spiritually. This is Geneva Evans, who is Brenda Glaze's niece. As soon as Brenda was baptized, she immediately invited her and her 3 girls to services. When she and her 3 girls came, Miss Sherry Harris began studying with her. It wasn't long after she started the studies that they lost everything in a house fire. The church immediately rallied around her and the girls to get them the things that they needed. Several members gave her money and even took them shopping to buy them clothes and shoes. Geneva was overwhelmed and could not believe all the help that she had received from the church. She continued the studies and then was baptized. At Christmas, we knew that she was not going to be able to get the girls the things that they wanted. And so I asked Miss Geneva, I said, can you get me a list of the things that the girls would like for Christmas? And she did. And I brought those 3 lists and brought them to the women, and we divided it among ourselves so that we would be able to give those girls a good Christmas. And these girls were so excited, their little eyes, they were so happy, and the smiles were just priceless when they saw all the gifts. We pray that these 3 girls will grow up always remembering what the church has done for them, and that one day they all will be faithful Christians. When we help someone with benevolent help, we should always pray that God will open a door that we can study with them in the future. Benevolence will not bring lost souls to Christ unless we care enough to try to study with them. It should always be done to try to win souls. This is the purpose of benevolence. The 9th ingredient could be for us to be a teacher or a silent partner. In 2 Timothy 2:2, it reads, "And the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also." We are not all going to feel comfortable in teaching, but we can be a silent partner to help with the study. The teacher needs to learn a method and become very familiar with it. At first, when I started learning how to use Back to the Bible, I was Rob's silent partner. It was not until our first mission trip to Jamaica that I conducted my first Bible study. I can remember how nervous I was doing it, but I knew it was time for me to be a teacher. The more studies I did, the more comfortable I became in doing it. We definitely need more ladies to step up and become teachers and silent partners when teaching other women the gospel. I trained Hannah how to do one in Jamaica as well. She was my silent partner and was able to watch me do one so that she could do one as well. I told her that I wanted her to be able to teach someone the gospel too. Even though I knew that she had seen and heard her daddy do one, I wanted her to do one too. The preacher's wife in Sandy Bay, Jamaica, came up to Hannah one day that we were there and asked her if she would study with one of the teenage girls, and she did. I was her silent partner, so that I could help her in case she needed it. She taught this young girl, and she obeyed the gospel. I was so proud of her, and that gave her the confidence of knowing she can do it. The girl who was baptized is still a faithful Christian in Jamaica. This is a great opportunity for mothers and daughters to work together in soul winning. There is no greater joy to be able to do this together. My suggestion is to find out which ladies would want to be a teacher and who would want to be a silent partner. You never know when you may be asked to conduct one, and you will want to be prepared when the time comes. We need ladies to be willing to teach a Bible study or one who will be a silent partner. Which one will you be? The 10th ingredient could be someone who is willing to be a keeper. We need ladies to help in this work as well, whether it be a husband and wife team or two ladies, or just even two individuals who would be willing to help keep the saved saved. We need ladies to help once a week do Bible studies with the new converts. We recommend Growing in Christ by Brother Bobby Bates or The Beginning of Our Confidence by David Farr. Growing in Christ is an excellent study to use, especially if you have used back to the Bible. It is a continuation of the study. Beginning of Our Confidence is also a great tool for teaching the new converts about moral and doctrinal issues. These lessons are shorter and take about 20 minutes. This gives them an opportunity to open up in a more private setting and discuss personal issues. Most new converts are not going to ask questions in a large adult class. We never want to give up on the new convert that we have worked so hard to convert. We know that the devil will work very hard to get them back. And in Mark chapter 1, verses 9 through 13, it reads, "And it came to pass in those days that Jesus came from Nazareth of Galilee, and was baptized of John in Jordan. And straightway coming up out of the water, he saw the heavens open, and the Spirit like a dove descending upon him. And there came a voice from heaven, saying, Thou art my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. And immediately the Spirit driveth him into the wilderness, and was there in the wilderness 40 days, tempted of Satan, and was with the wild beast, and the angels ministered unto him." If Jesus was tempted after he was baptized, so will the new converts. We want them to become well-grounded so that they will always be faithful. At Jacksonville, we have those that are designated to be keepers, and we have Eric Shear, Sarah Parfait, Michael Cole, and many others who normally help with this work. And what we do is we normally encourage them to either go to their home or the church building, whichever way they feel the most comfortable, and do these studies together once a week. Sometimes also after the study, they will take them out to eat. This will help build a close relationship with the new converts. So not only do they have that relationship with the ones who taught them the gospel, but they're also going to build relationships with those that are the keepers as well. So the more people that we can get involved with these new converts, the more successes as we have in keeping them, and that they will be less likely to leave the church. We have had much success with the converts remaining faithful when we have people assigned to be keepers.
Do you give them one of those books to study afterward, or do you just use the book as a guide?
We normally will give them the book, and then those that keepers will go through a lesson each week with them.
How long are they Christians before you don't consider them a new convert?
We did it at Willette is we usually keep them in a new converts class for about 2 years. 1 to 2 years, but a lot of times 2 years, because there's a lot of growing that needs to be done, and they're not really ready for an adult Bible class. That's a lot to take in. So we normally up to 2 years. That's a good question. In summary, there are 10 ingredients that bring souls to Christ. We need to begin by sending cards to those in the community, knock doors, mail out house to house, heart to heart, make and deliver the new movers baskets, hand out visitors bag, take the visitors out to eat or have them in your home, do some kind of community outreach, help others with benevolence, teach a study or be the silent partner, or lastly, keep the saved saved. I hope and pray that these things will help you in personal evangelism. Ladies, we've got a lot of work to do, don't we? It's exciting too. And I pray that I hear many good things from this congregation. I know I will. If you have any questions at all, I don't want to, you can contact me at nicole.whitacre@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you, and in any way I can help, I'll be more than happy to. Does anybody else have any other questions? Well, if not, ladies, I really do appreciate your time and attention, and I know this has been a long week for y'all, and every night it's just been so long, but we truly have enjoyed getting to know each and every one of you, and we pray that many lost souls will be added to the church. Thank you.
Thank you.